didn't say it. He just said that's it.
Did you ever see the blue one?
It's now time to call our meeting to order, and I'd like to recognize Dwayne Grice with Grice Connect and Eden Hodges with WSAV. Is there any other media here? Well, if they come in, y'all can thank them for showing up. And going to mention your cell phones. Inevitably, one goes off at, or 2 or 10 about every meeting. Will y'all please check them and silence them? Now, I do know they have a mind of their own. If it does ring, you can go out to the corridor, talk, and then come back in here. Want to make one announcement. I've heard several people asking questions about the Board of Education. If you have comments or questions about the Board of Education, you are in the wrong meeting. We have nothing to do with the Board of Education. So their meeting, I don't know, they've been set. Does anybody know when their meetings are? Next week, I think. 31st and the 2nd. So if you want to discuss Board of Education matters, go to those meetings. So having said that, we hope we have a great meeting this afternoon. And I'm going to call on Commissioner Stringer to lead us invitation and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Gracious Heavenly Father, thank you so much for all the blessings you give us every day, Lord. I pray that you will continue to bless us all, and thank you for your love and your grace and your mercy. I pray that you will bless everyone here in this room, bless all the families represented, and bless this commission and the staff. Pray that you'll bless our community, our county, our state, our nation, Lord. We ask for mercy and blessings on our law enforcement, fire, EMS, first responders. Just pray that you will be with us today as we make decisions for the citizens of our county. We want to do what's pleasing in your sight, Lord. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Stringer. Next, we're going to have a roll call. Ms. Mincy White will perform that for us, please.
I, Venus Mincy White, present as Clerk of the Board of Commissioners of Bulloch County, hereby call the roll for those on the governing body. All those present shall answer by saying aye. Chairman Roy Thompson.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Ray Mosley.
Aye.
Commissioner Timmy Rushing.
Aye.
Commissioner Anthony Simmons.
Aye.
Commissioner Toby Connor.
Aye.
Commissioner Kurt Deal.
Aye.
Commissioner Jappy Stringer.
aye.
I have determined that we have all members of the Board of Commissioners present. Therefore, we have a quorum to conduct business for the good of the citizens of Bulloch County. I now yield the floor back to the chairman.
Thank you, Ms. White. Before I entertain a motion to approve the general agenda, do we have any other discussion or modifications desired by the county manager or the board?
Mr. Chairman, we have no modification this evening. Thank you.
All right, hearing none from the commissioners, then I'm going to entertain a motion to approve the general agenda.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Have a motion, second, any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, show of hands. Unanimous approval. General agenda is approved. Next is the opening statement from myself. I'm going to stand up for this one. It's hard to see the ones that's right on the front row. So I'm going to cover 2 or 3 things about this meeting. First of all, I want to ask something. How many of y'all, is this the first meet? How many has attended one of these meetings? Okay. 2. And I won't ask 3 because you're all here. So many of y'all have been here for both meetings. And, we decided early on to have our meetings at 6:30 so that everyone that works like myself could be here on time and be here at 6:30 and give more people an opportunity to be here. We've had approximately, this is the biggest crowd that we've had. We've had approximately 200 here for the first 2 meetings. And with tonight's sign-up sheet, we will have had somewhere around 50 people, that includes tonight, that wanted to speak. And going over the speaking, each speaker has 5 minutes. I direct you over here, you'll see a clock. We don't start the clock till you get here to the mic. And if you will speak into the mic, then you've got 5 minutes. When that buzzer goes off, we would appreciate your finishing your sentence and then returning to your seat. It's okay to clap if somebody says something when they finish. If you would please hold your applause till they finish, then it's fine to clap if you would like to do so. It's very important that we be able to hear what people say. My main job is to run an orderly meeting, and so far we've had 2 meetings that have been very orderly, and I certainly appreciate that. We've not had anybody to yell out or show up, show off, whatever. And we would appreciate your doing that tonight also. But to the best of my ability, I will run an orderly meeting, and it's up to you. We just ask that you just follow the rules and the guidelines that we're presenting now. And having said that, it's now time for our public hearing on the proposed property tax increase to begin. And I'll now ask for a motion to open the floor for public comments.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second, any discussion? All those in favor, show of hands. Unanimous approval. Ms. Venus, if you will call the first person.
David Shannon.
Hi, my name's David Shannon. I'm AKA Super Dave Shannon, and I sing at First Baptist Church, and I sing bass. And today, I want to sing to y'all about there is a proposal, an opportunity to find some funds other than where we're looking today. I did find some other model towns such as Brunswick that does inspections, that do an inspection before you do construction. They do an inspection during construction and after. Each of these events would expose what's going on today is a travesty. I do 1,500 inspections a year annually. I find people are committing crimes daily. They're doing substandard construction in our town. If we hire 4 inspectors, we're looking at maybe $120,000 to $160,000 a year. To bring in 8,000 possible new homes in this county, what we're looking at is a lot of inspections and getting some quality work in places and homes that people can live in and be proud of. These funds would also not necessarily be the 100% of all the funds you're looking for, but it would be something other than what we're considering today. I'm not for the extra taxation. I'm sure there's going to be other people that are going to have some other reasons today, but I just found at least one opportunity. If we model one of these other towns that are doing all these super inspections and getting quality work, I found as many as 11 layers of roof on one roof in Brunswick. And I realized after I exposed the roof why they have these inspections. And in these times right now, 1,500 inspections locally, I'm finding some really bad things. I got people that are not, insurance are not paying for improperly installed homes that were devastated in Elabelle that were not paid for. They were not paid for because they were not properly built. That's their exit strategy. I would like to propose that we find another avenue, another way that we can get these funds other than taxing people. I don't want to push out my farmer brothers. I don't want to pay more taxes. I've got plenty of people here that got more than enough reasons than what I've got right now. I just want to come up with another solution. So if we come up with these inspectors, we'll be able to stop some riffraff that's going on in this town. It's amazing. I was in Lowe's today, and a gentleman told me what he was going to do, and I said, I hope you got a building permit. And he said, oh, no, I'll be done, I'll be finished, and I'll be out of here before anybody knows what's going on. And I'm like, we've got to put a stop to it. So I found that hiring some inspectors is going to be an extra added expense to our funds, but we will have a lot more money to accrue from all these inspections if we're doing them right. If we're doing them like Brunswick, if we're doing them, they want to see the bare bones. They want to see what we're working with. If I got somebody right now, if they were out there, you'd find that most of the houses that are supposed to be built with half-inch plywood is being built with 7/16. And every now and then it gets caught and it gets shut down. For me to go into a town and find that I'm the only one that's asking for permits is a travesty. And I would like to do something about that. What's next? Who do I need to talk to? That's what I want to know. You need to find me. I'm Super Dave, one word, on Facebook. Super Dave Shannon is spelled S-C-H-A-N-E-N. And I'm proud to do anything I can to help this county. I've said enough.
Thank you very much.
Joan Price Aiden.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. Couch, and Mrs. Mincy White. Yes, I'm Joan Price Aiden, and I live in the Iron Gate subdivision, and this is my third time here at these hearings. And I really appreciate your time and attentiveness over these last 2 weeks, as you repeatedly heard comments and complaints from citizens about considering raising our taxes. This is something that the Board of Education, though, cannot state, as every member skipped every hearing, and I hope that our voices here are ringing loud and clear. And that it's one thing to listen, but totally a different thing to hear what we are saying. As my husband and I considered relocating to Georgia, Bulloch County was high on our list because of low property taxes, the access to health care locally and in nearby communities, and the appeal of a community with conservative values, including fiscal responsibility. Over the years, we have seen what we consider to be planned and sustainable growth in the county. There were industries and new businesses coming in, but they seemed to be well thought out and placed in areas set aside for them. However, it seems that the citizens of the county are on the cusp of paying the price for deviating from a conservative plan. A plan that appears to be accelerating toward growth that is not as well planned as prior growth. It seems that at every county committee meeting, there's an opposition from citizens about new subdivisions or industries wanting to locate near them. While we're here to talk about property tax increases and the underlying budget that forced it, I think that we are seeing the bigger problem is that the decisions are being met that do not fit in with what the citizens of this county really want. When you have Democrats, Republicans, and independents coming together and sharing the same opposition, it ought to be a red flag to every one of you that this is not a path to go down. It has been very clear that tax abatements are not what we want. It is even clearer that we do not want our property tax rates increased as is currently being proposed. Repeatedly, there have been fears shared within our community that will no longer be the county will no longer be like or reflect why people like myself relocated here or longtime families have stayed here to raise their families. So I respectfully ask each of you to do what is right and vote against this increase. You have our support, our strong support, to stand against this increase. Thanks for your time and consideration.
Lucia Hurst.
Okay. You are currently doing what the government does best, running our community on debt, working off a budget that has already been passed, but only now acting like you want to hear the opinions of the citizens that you officially work for. Other citizens might seem a bit more reasonable, like Miss Michael, who's willing to meet you halfway, 5 million approved, 5 million not approved. However, I demand that you vote no, and not only send the budget back into deliberation with major cuts to the non-essentials, like 8% pay plan increase, splash in the borough, the unwanted Athens to Savannah bike trail, etc., but also throw the tax abatement subject back onto the table and allow the county citizens to vote on these incoming factories. We deserve our constitutional referendum, and the Development Authority does not have the authority to approve tax abatement for foreign factories without our permission. First, not after the fact. Isn't that right, Mr. Deal? How dare you approve such an increase to property tax when the citizens are suffering so greatly right now? We're being hit left and right with increases on power, food, gas, and fees everywhere. Stop helping yourselves and help the people that voted for you. Do the job that you were hired to do. Everyone sitting up there can and will be replaced. This is a land grab in more than one way. The increase in property auctions that we will see next year, along with the consequences of prioritizing the foreign factories over the local farmer communities. These factories are offering us nothing to the county citizens, and we are stretching our resources to make room for these factories. Some people are saying that Bryan County was given $7 billion from Hyundai. Where's our benefit in this business transaction with the 5 incoming companies? Send it to the citizens to vote on. New growth should pay for the new growth, not us who receive no benefit, but will be greatly affected by this major change in our county. We will lose valuable woodland habitat, and traffic will only get worse. Just look at the chaos that Effingham County has experienced with the warehouses popping up everywhere, including right next to neighborhoods. I will not agree to industrializing our county and losing our agricultural heritage. A vote for yes is a vote against our citizens and our farmers. You should know better, Mr. Connor. I vote for farmers and property owners over foreign factories. Find another way to come up with a reasonable budget that doesn't solely rest on the shoulders of the already strained citizens.
Danny Carter.
My name's Danny Carty. I think most of the commissioners know me. Mr. Connor yet met me before, but I've been here before. I used to work for the county, and when I worked with the county, it's been 7, 8 years ago now. It was run a lot more efficient than it is now. We actually were hired out to the city of Statesboro to do jobs for the city, not just the county. Now the county is not, our dirt roads are in the worst condition they've been in 20 years. And yeah, I see here where y'all gonna pay employees all this $2 or $3 more million. I guess they're gonna be positions, and 2, to just ride around and look. Are they gonna be workers? That's what I wanna know. If we gonna keep increasing our taxes to pay people. Another thing, when I worked there, I furnished my own ride to work. I furnished my own gas. Now, when gas is $4 a gallon, vehicles are a lot more than they used to be. Y'all buy, everybody that works for the camp out there drives a pickup truck home, furnishes them gas, and there's no accountability where they go with those trucks when they get home and what they do. And my roads, like I say, our roads, and I'm just tired of you increasing my taxes to pay for people not accountable and doing efficient work. We just got people holding positions that's not qualified to do the job. Now, if I'm, and that could go, if y'all don't see the light, people are getting fed up with this kind of stuff. I mean, I'm not a real speaker. I got a high school education, but I know what adding and subtracting is. I can figure in my head, and if people think we can just keep going, I'm on Social Security. My Social Security ain't going up to cover for all these excess costs that we get, added on to us. And then you're gonna go up 28% on taxes, and I understand that Roy made a statement to somebody that was a misprint in the paper. Is that true, Roy?
What?
About the 28% increase on taxes.
I've read anywhere from 33 to 28 to 13. I don't know what to believe.
And then I've heard that this money we're gonna get for
All right, listen.
the money we're gonna get. Okay.
Just a minute. I'm not gonna have this. You're gonna stop. I can leave. I'm not gonna hear it. We cannot understand what anybody is saying if we have all of this going on. You can get mad with me if you want to. I really don't care. You can run against me if you want to. I'll pay you your fee. But we're not going to have this in this meeting tonight. So we stopped the clock at 2:14. You still got 2 minutes and 14 seconds left. If you want to clap, whatever you want to do, when he finishes, you certainly can. Now, I'm serious about it. Go ahead.
Well, the main reason my complaint is I don't mind paying something, but I hate to see the waste that's going on in this county. There's people, nobody's got accountability to their job. Nobody checks on them. They may, but it's not. I see it with my own eyes. And we got all you commissioners. I don't see how come y'all don't see some of the stuff I see. But I probably said enough, but I hope y'all got the point that people are against this 100%. And I don't like to come to this kind of meeting, but there's got to be a stopping point somewhere. And all of y'all business people, Toby, you a farmer. You ought to know better than any of us. All of you people, well, some of you retired. Freddie, he still works. But if you run your business like the county is running this right now, you wouldn't be in business long. And it's the same way with the government. It's fixing to go downhill too. It's coming from the top all the way to the bottom. So that's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna leave it to somebody else. And I thank y'all.
Thank you, Danny.
Darnell Waters.
I come to this county 5 years ago to get away from Chatham County for the crap they was doing. And here we are again. Well, I like this county. I want to live here. But it's coming to the point, I've only been here 5 years, and I know people that's been here all their life, but it's coming to the point that it's forcing us that we're fixing to have to move because we can't pay taxes. I'm on limited income. I don't get Social Security. I don't get disability. I get a retirement because health reasons forced me to retire. But we can't keep this up. So I want to stay in this county. And there's a lot of people here that are farmers. Well, I don't know how they're going to keep surviving too with all this other stuff coming around here. Let them pay for their fair share. Find other ways, like Danny said, cut out some of the unnecessary expending. I'm sure there's plenty of areas that can be cleaned up on that. So just think about the people in the county that's been here all their lives. Well, think about next elections coming up. Everybody wants to vote. Well, with all this going on, it's probably not going to happen. But I want to stay in the county, but I can't if this keeps coming up. We're going to have to move. So find other ways for the property taxes, please.
Jimmy Mallard.
Good evening. My name is Jimmy Mallard. Gentlemen, I think y'all fellas are headed down the wrong road for prosperity in our county. Our people that live in us here trying to make a living on the farm and keep our little piece of land we got for our houses instead of raise our children. Y'all got to turn around and look at things like this in respect to people that you're serving. We all elected y'all to go into office and thinking y'all would have enough common sense to be able to justify, and if you needed money, you know these grants out there from the state that you can get where that you ain't got to charge the county or the people in the county so much money for taxes. You can get that grant, but the only trouble with y'all with the grants, if you get the grants, you got regulations on that, and y'all don't. That puts y'all in a bind because you can't do what you want to with it, like build a horse arena or build other things that you want to build out here that it ain't benefiting to everybody in the county. But these taxes affects everybody in the county. And I'd like to see you stop and think about what you're doing. And just like the other said about the roads, where roads have been neglected and ain't been cared for because of, and they don't, most of the time the operator, he ain't a driver, he just knows how to drive it, that's all. And y'all need to take a look at these things and stop this increasing. And I know the county wants to grow, and that's fine. But listen to the people, what they got to say before you go jump in the boat and take off. Somebody's got to foot the bill. You need to consider that in your mind. You're doing all what you're doing. I appreciate your time, and thank you.
Tim Powell.
We'll start by quoting Sheriff Brown at the last meeting. He said, "We've got to do better than this." You're right, Sheriff Brown. We need to do better at finding money for your needs in a fair and equitable manner. Quote from Chairman Thompson, "We need these things, and these things cost money." Everybody knows that, Mr. Chairman. The issue is, where will the money come from? Again, quoting the chairman, after last Monday's meeting, he said, "Last night was a shocker." Mr. Chairman, imagine how shocked the citizens were when they received news that the property taxes would increase 30%. On County Manager Couch's LinkedIn page, there is a line that reads, "Negative people, they have a problem for every solution." Well, I'm coming here tonight because I'm not negative, but I don't like your solution. I've brought a fair solution to our problem. Our problem is we don't have enough money to run this county. The reason is we have given tax abatements to large corporations for years, resulting in these corporations not paying their fair share. Even in the county manager's introduction of the budget book under the section Economic Development, the county manager states the Development Authority of Bulloch County needs to review strategies for incentives that responsibly attracts and retains business and commerce, not at all costs. Deliberation and due diligence must be performed before offering incentives. Sounds like he's on our side. My solution is not meant to be humorous, but it does require some thinking out of the box. It's called Run Your Government Like a Business. I read the entire 2023-24 budget book this weekend, and although it was painful, it was enlightening. Every tool you need to answer this budget crisis without raising taxes is in this book. It tells you exactly how to change and amend policies and laws surrounding the fees charged for services in our county. I don't have time to read it to you, but trust me, it's in there. That brings me to my solution. In the county's budget book, there is a chart containing a long list of fees charged for various county services. I would suggest that by way of new ordinance, a column be added entitled Fees for Those Exempt from Property Tax. In other words, you could call it the Corporate Freeloader column, or you could call it We've Already Given You the Shirt Off Our Back column. I won't go into the different fees because I don't have much time, but the amounts of these fees should reflect the true cost of providing county services to corporate property tax freeloaders. As an example, an employee at one of the freeloading corporations has an accident and an ambulance needs to be dispatched. The freeloader corporation should have to pay the county $1,000 per mile traveled to and from said freeloader's location. In addition, the corporate freeloader should pay $1,000 per hour per county EMS technician used at the scene. The same fees should be charged if law enforcement is needed at a corporate freeloader's location. If we are providing fire services and sending a $700,000 fire truck to the scene of a corporate freeloader for inspections, firefighting, or routine servicing of fire hydrants, $2,000 a mile should be charged to and from the point of origin of the vehicle and $1,000 an hour for the firefighters performing the service. In addition, payment for these services must be made within 5 days of said service, or the sheriff will be dispatched to the corporate freeloader's location and collect payment, also resulting in the per mile charge and hourly labor fee. If payment is not made at that time, sheriff's office will be directed to block the entrance to the corporate freeloader's business until such payment is made. These are just 3 examples of the many fees and amounts that we should be charging for county services provided to corporate freeloaders. The collection of these reasonable fees, keeping in mind that the corporate freeloaders pay no county tax for said service, should be reasonably expected to account for at least half of the budget increase that the commission is asking the taxpayers for. So in conclusion, which one of you 6 commissioners will have the intestinal fortitude to vote no to increase our taxes and then make a motion that you amend the budget by adding new fees for corporate freeloaders to the county 2023-24 budget tomorrow? You weren't elected to think for us. You were elected to represent us. Which one of you has the courage to stand up for the taxpayers that voted for you? Which one of you will be a disruptor instead of someone who just goes along to get along, as our sheriff likes to say? I would ask that you prayerfully consider this question as you prepare for tomorrow's vote. Remember, on the county website, there is an organizational chart. The citizens are in the block at the top of the chart. When you're at the top of the chart, you are the boss. The rest of you and all of your department heads and elected officials and other employees are under us, the citizen taxpayers. My name is Tim Powell. I've been writing checks for property taxes to Bulloch County for 41 years. My phone number is 912-531-1009 if you need more help figuring out how to run a government like a business.
Randy Proctor. Randy Proctor.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of these people have expelled my sentiments exactly. But being I was already on the docket to talk, I might as well do it. But I'm Randy Proctor from Stilson in the east end of Bulloch County. I am retired and I'm on a fixed income. I'm opposed to any future tax increases. I'm opposed to what's being done in the east end of Bulloch County. I'm very concerned about the water situation. What the deals that y'all gentlemen have all made with Bryan County is not acceptable to me as a Bulloch County taxpayer. I think if you wanted to do that, you should have put that up for a vote here in Bulloch County. We all got voting precincts. The tax increase that is being proposed is only for the purpose of what is being done to promote growth by our development authority. That's the only reason it's being done. And that growth benefits a lot of you gentlemen right here. Not wanting to point nobody out, but I am going to call a couple of people out. We know for a fact that our federal government has no morals or integrity. We also know that our state government has no morals or integrity. I would like to think you, as our elected officials in this county, would have morals and integrity. And this will yet to be seen, gentlemen. I have a small farm, a shop, and a home in the lower end of Bulloch County. I have paid taxes to Bulloch County too, just like that other gentleman. I wrote checks every year. But I do not want to sell my farm and move. I'm 74 years old, and I just don't want to go from where I'm at. I want to finish out the rest of my days right there. Now, I've talked with a couple of you gentlemen here, and I think them three right there really know me well. And I've talked with some of them. But let me tell you, gentlemen, I got this kind of comment out of one of them on the front steps of Leafield Baptist Church. I'm going to sit tight and watch this thing and see how it washes out. And I just done everything that I could possibly do to get that individual to this seat that he's sitting in. And the one on the end down there, Mr. Russian there, I talked to Mr. Russian. Mr. Russian said, we don't have nothing to do with what the school board does. You know, well, you do. Because if you make people from other countries in here and they load up our schools, the school system has no choice but to increase. You increase, then they go increase schools. Now, gentlemen, I can tell you, I don't like it, one way or the other. But I appreciate y'all, what you do. And I especially appreciate Noel Brown. But I don't want what you think you gonna benefit out of, Roy Thompson. And I appreciate you. God bless all of you. Thank you.
Bill Emily.
Boy, it's hot in here. Good evening, County Chairman, Commissioners, General Manager, distinguished guests. I sat back at home and went through my notes and re-looked at my notes and like this and tried to put together a politically correct way and try to take out the 22 years I served in the Naval Forces language, so I wouldn't be having a seat at the Crossbar Hotel here in Bulloch County. The people in Bulloch County are very conservative, and they try to spend their money wisely, and they try to make ends meet. When last meeting I was here, we received a Sheriff's Office fiscal year 2024 budget request. We got a nice presentation, slant lecture from the county sheriff. And looking at the general fund position added under sheriff, it says that there's 11 positions that he is requiring. When I went through the presentation, there's only 10 listed. These are small little things that are creating questions. These are the small little things that tear down the integrity of the county commissioners. Primary example also in the sheriff's office, in his budget, it talks about the SRO that is going to be given to Bulloch. Mr. Couch has come across and has provided us with the information that an SRO cost is $105,000 a year. Nobody has ever said that until the sheriff came out with his dissertation that the vehicle, part of that cost is the uniform, the travel, the training, and the vehicle. But in the sheriff's presentation, the vehicle is being paid for by other funds than general funds. It's drug enforcement or drug something funds. Again, these little small things is what's tearing at your credibility. And right now, your credibility is about that low. As in the Navy, we would say about as low as whale doo-doo. Commissioners, without loyalty, there is no Bulloch County. And you can turn around and look at the seal, 1796. The path that you are on right now, I guarantee you that 1796 is going to have a for sale sign on it. I know you must understand that you are driving your senior citizens into bankruptcy. I know I've been in front of you before. I know I have stated this. Right now, if your budget passes, you will totally take 75.94% out of the senior citizens budget. How in the hell can you justify that? And then in the same stroke of the pen, give 8% pay raise to other people. And then say justification why you're raising the property taxes is to pay for essential services. But then when you look at the property tax abatement you give out, there's nothing mentioned about essential services. But yet when I talk to Mr. Wilson, the school system is exempt from abatements. Those industrial people have to pay a school fee. So my question is this: how in the heck can the school fee be required to be paid, but essential services on these industrial park people don't have to be paid? Roads, safety, police, fire, EMS. Our property taxes should be paying for essential services first and foremost and paramount. Then if we want to put a trail in between here and Brooklyn or here in Savannah or wherever, and we have to go into property tax or the general revenue, you should stop, look, and listen, because there ain't no more money in the bank. It's broke. You've already dipped into the well 75%. It's broke. You can't be dipping water out of a dry well. It doesn't work. And I know you all are smart enough to realize that. So please go back to your litigation and go back in there and find the money, but it ain't property taxes that can pay for it. Again, maybe you need to put a requisition for some Kevlar jackets for these type of meetings. But the people are crying to you that they can't afford it. And the reasons why is because of their funding. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Lawton Sack.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. Couch, Ms. White. First of all, I wanted to start and say a word of thank you to Ms. King. She's provided me with a lot of information over these last few weeks as we as citizens have taken a look at this and trying to figure out what we can do to fight against this. I was really disappointed this morning when I pulled up the agenda for tomorrow's meeting for a couple of reasons. First one is there are going to be zero public comments at all at the meeting tomorrow, even after the vote. I would like to ask you to reconsider that, and I want to encourage the people behind me to continue speaking regardless of what the vote is to will be tomorrow, that you continue to stand up and let your voice be heard. The other part was reading the resolution and showing that the millage rate that has been talked about, the 1.5 mils, is the one listed in the resolution. It has been my hope and has been my fight for that to be reduced. I love it to be zero. Some of us have offered at least a compromise here, but the resolution still lists the 1.5. We continue to feel like that our voices are not being heard. Now, I've spoken to millionaires in this county, and I've spoken to senior citizens that are on a fixed income. And I'm talking about fixed incomes of $700, $800. I mentioned last week of a gentleman that had a $900 disability check that comes in each month. And you look at these people and you tell them how in the world they're going to afford this. Now, I know some people in this room, this extra $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, it's going to be a drop in the bucket. But some of these people are going to go into debt further with their mortgage because they don't have the money and they're going to have an escrow shortage and it's going to be rolled into their loan. And little do they know that over the next 15, 20, 30 years, that $1,500 extra dollars that they're going to have to come up with is going to become tens of thousands of dollars when you compound interest. When you look at this agenda for tomorrow, the percentage of the tax increase is 33%. That's coming from the county. That's directly just from the millage rate increase. We know that there's also going to be a fire increase. Charles Wilson at the Board of Education informed us, obviously when the board members weren't there to say it themselves, that our property taxes are going to go up with them as well. So we're looking at 33% just for the county. And that's all we're here to talk about here tonight, supposedly. But we also need to think about this budget, the thing that is driving this millage rate increase. This budget was passed very quickly for us as citizens. And we know that there is hearings starting back earlier this year. We've gone over that time after time. But the citizens behind us are still discouraged that this was rushed so quickly in an 8:30 meeting that with 3 members of the public in attendance that was passed without a single no vote. It's my hope with another 8:30 a.m. vote tomorrow that there will be people on this board that will stand up for the citizens and say, no, we are not going to do this. We can come back, we can go to this budget, we can find places to cut. Once again, this is not about law enforcement. This isn't about taking money out of Noel Brown's pocket or out of Ted Wynn's pocket. This is taking money out of our pocket. And you have to remember that. It's not their money. It is our money that you are taking. So when they stand up in front of us and they tell us, well, we'll have to do without this or that, what are you going to tell these people behind me that are going to have to do without? They don't have a choice. Y'all can vote yes tomorrow. You can raise taxes. You can do whatever you want with that. These people behind me cannot do that. They need you to be the voice for them, to speak up for them, and put people over corporations. Put people first in Bulloch County. And as I said last Monday, that's what we do here in Bulloch County. Some of y'all ran for a commission because you love this county. Remember that when you vote tomorrow. Vote because you love this county, you want what is best for it. Be brave, be courageous, stand with these people. We'll get your back, we'll vote for you if you have the guts to vote no tomorrow. And that's what I encourage you to do. Vote no. Thank you.
Ginger Neville.
My name is Ginger Neville. I have lived in Bulloch County for 30 years. Came here, became a transplant, going to Georgia Southern, married a local, and made a nice little farmer son who will be speaking probably right after me. Before I go into the points that I was going to bring, I would like to go ahead and address what the sentiments were, I believe, of the people behind me during the disruption. Mr. Thompson, you mentioned you weren't even sure what to believe on what the increase was. The sentiment of the people behind me is that is your job to know that. So after I conclude, I ask that you would address that. I will have some questions after I conclude my brief speech, and hope that someone will address them after I conclude as well, or get them written up and get them back to me later. But now I'm going to go ahead and proceed. The current problem with the state of society today is that democratic processes are not working as intended, or maybe they are, if you ask the big corporations and politicians whose pockets they stuff. Legislation in America is supposed to be for the people, by the people, but it's not. Politicians are not acting according to the will of the people. Rather, they are doing the bidding of the massive corporations at the expense of small-town USA instead of a democracy. Bulloch County was once known as an agricultural community, but those in seats of power are selling us out to pave the way for ruling corporations. On what basis was the decision made to bust Bulloch County at the seams with massive industrial corporations? I don't know of one person in the community in the capacity of a regular working class citizen or senior citizen that wants our little town to become predominantly an industrial town. Bulloch citizens are proud of our farmers and our great not-so-little university. Those are what make up the identity of Statesboro. Big business is threatening that as farmland is relentlessly sacrificed for these big businesses and the working class is expected to bear the burden of financially providing for them when they already generate incomprehensible amounts of money for themselves. I'm going to read a quote, and I wonder if any of you will recall this. Quote, Mr. Thompson says he's worked very hard, and for years others have worked very hard to bring manufacturing to our county. Our county has been an agricultural county for a long time and one of the best in Georgia, and a wealthy county. We don't need to be an industrialized area. We don't want it. That was Ruth Green addressing the lack of transparency on industry deals with the Commission and the Developmental Authority. Joan, Joon, has now reserved, bought, whatever the word would be, taken the last spot at our industrial parks. That is enough. No more industrial business in Bulloch County. I am here pleading for the sake of my fourth-generation farmer son, whose farm is now being threatened with the ambitions of our county manager to erect a whole nother town right at the farm, which is almost at the Evans County line. And the rest of Bulloch County's working class, stop selling us out. At least impose some sort of tax or fees on these big businesses. And reduce the 8% pay increase. A 2 to 4% increase is plenty generous enough. It should not be the burden of the working class nor senior citizens. If we need an assortment of referendums to fix the problem politicians have created, I'm fully prepared to start that process. Now for the questions that I have. Who has direct oversight of the Developmental Authority of Bulloch County? Question number 2, who decided to allow non-disclosure agreements with these industries? Why? Number 3, who all is privy to the details of those non-disclosure? Who made the decision? Whom those people would be? 4, how many property owners are employed at one of these industrial companies? And 6, what is the current population of Bulloch County property owners? Thank you for your time.
Colt Neville.
Good afternoon. I'm Colt Neville. I'm from the Sinkhole area, right there where the industrial park is being put up. I'm a fourth generation farmer, and I'm representing I'm probably one of the few that have actually shown up. So we feel like we have no voice. They don't even feel like there's a dog in the fight, so they don't show up. So I'm here for everybody. Like I said, I'm right there at the industrial park. I don't want any of these extra funds that aren't accounted for. I want it to be gone over, this budget to be gone over very thoroughly. Make sure there's nothing left over. Make sure it's tight. I don't want any extra funds to go to the developmental authority in any way to buy out more land, as has happened to some farmers that I know. We have tried to buy land right there in our area. We have been outbid by the Bulloch County Developmental Authority on our farmland that we were tending to then turn into industrial. It hurts to pay these dollars to fund us getting pinched out. I've got farmers that have said they've wondered when the developmental authority is going to be abolished, and it was told that they'd get back with them and let them know. It's been 2 months. He hasn't heard anything. Just go over this budget strictly. Don't leave anything left over. If there's anything left over, we've heard the roads need to be dealt with. Give some to Dink. Let him get that taken care of. I understand that a lot of this is just to keep everything going. Go over everything thoroughly. Don't have anything left over. I don't want to leave this county. I've been here all my life. My family's been here before I was 16 was even here. I don't want to get pinched out. It's a very real thing. I'm looking at outs. I'm looking for other jobs. I'm looking over places that are not developed so I can get out of here. I don't want to be the farmer and the family to end this farming generation. I don't really have much else to say, but I want y'all to just know, I know a lot of us are angry, but please listen to us, understand us. I know I see everybody looking at me, but Mr. Couch, I know you don't look at a lot of them. Just be with us. Well, I know it sounds like a lot are against you, but we just want you with us. And thank you, everybody else. That's all I've got to say.
Paul McCoy.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. My name is Paul McCoy. I live in the southern part of the Bulloch County and Bay District area, and I'm here today to talk with you about this tax increase. It's absolutely killing the people of Bulloch County. You've got 95% of the people of this county are working class people, just like I am, and you got about 5% are wealthy families. I've tightened my belt, and I've done what I've had to do to survive to be almost 60 years old. And I believe that you can tighten your belt too. There's things that you can do. There's things that all of you can do to help, even if it's just a few dollars. I've got a 16-year-old GMC truck out there that I drive. I've got a 31-year-old car that I drive. You look at my clothes. The pants came from Goodwill. This shirt and shoes came from Kmart. I mean, I've done everything to try to survive in this county. People are hurting. Why is the local government so large? I think it's taken notes from the federal government. I used to work for the federal government. The Department of Defense, 4 million employees, the largest employer in the world. They don't need those people. I've watched people sit in pickup trucks and under the air conditioner for 8 hours working at range control, earning a paycheck, sundown and payday. We don't need big government. Can't we get by on less? I've tightened my belt. I'm disabled. I don't receive disability. I have no health insurance. My home insurance got so high that I don't have any home insurance, no house insurance.
cell phone is going to be next. I'll be cutting it off next because that's how pathetic and dire my situation is. I've done everything humanly possible to cut costs in my lifetime. There's nobody in this county gotten by on any less than I've gotten through by on in my life. This tax increase is taking away the American dream. Children, they don't want to leave their parents' home anymore. They just want to stay with their parents and get their house willed to them from their parents. They don't even have no desire or drive to have anything because they know the tax man is going to take it away from them. It's going to take it away. And people are hurting. Money is worthless. I worked my whole career to try to save a rat hole, a little savings account. Now, a loaf of bread at the Walmart, I might add, is $4.28 per loaf. Making retirement savings worthless. Won't buy what it used to buy. I wanted children in my life. Couldn't afford to have any children. There's 4 generations of my family lived in this county. We did a lot of good in this county. We built a church in the lower end of the county, Lawrence Baptist Church. My family provided all the lumber and the labor to build that church. It burned down, but it was rebuilt. It's going to end with me because me, my brother, my sister do not have any children. So this McCoy generation is going to end with us. My grandfather was a farmer and a sawmiller. My father was a logger and a farmer. People like these monsters is what built this county. People want to see this county built on agriculture and timber. That's what it's built for. It's not industrial, it's Chatham and Savannah, not Bulloch. And that's just what I feel like. The Hyundai plant is going to, from what I understand, is we've given them the right to dig a water well in Bulloch County. I don't understand that. Why can't they draw right out of the Geechee River and filter that water? Why can't they filter that water? Why have they got to go and drill into our upper Floridian aquifer and drain it? And what are we going to do? People in this country are going to run out of water. They're already out of water in the West Coast. They're out of water in the Midwest. And now they're going to drain the upper Floridian aquifer in Bulloch County. What are we going to do for water? They could draw out of that river is what they can do. Thank you for your time.
George Brannon.
Hello. I can add very little to what's been said already, but what you are contemplating doing here is wrong. It is going to make the possibility of especially the elderly people in this county and those on fixed income, I am 71 myself, the possibility of us losing our homes a real reality. If not a reality, it will severely restrict what we do in life as to our quality of life. We'll have to cut back somewhere to make these payments. I've lived in the house I'm in for 4 years. My wife and I bought a little fixer-upper. In 4 years, the first year I had my house, my taxes were $1,100 a year. The tax bill I got on my house this year is just over $2,000. It has went up every year to almost double in 4 years. And now this increase will make it just almost impossible. And I was talking to someone today, and they said, really, one more tax increase is going to cause people to lose their homes. It's a death by 1,000 pinpricks. We are getting pricked every turn we turn. We have a federal government that is operating like stupidity is a virtue. And they are absolutely driving the cost of everything we use through the roof. Y'all know that. You live You buy bread, you buy gas. It's just on and on. And those who are on fixed income, it's even worse. And this is just one more thing on top of an endless, just seemingly endless supply of increases. And I try to understand some of the things that you've said and some of the things that goes on. This well system, I understand that we are drilling 4 wells in this county, 2 from Bryan County is doing, 2 we are doing, at a cost of $22.6 million. Half of that is going to come from another source, but that still leaves $11.3 million. Now, that's bad enough. But I understand that the first well site has been purchased. We'll close on it. We're due to close on it September 1st. It's 2 acres off of Old Highway 46. That property is due to close at a cost of $60,000 for 2 acres of property. I don't know who brokered that deal, but I've got a used truck I would love to sell him. But as you can tell, I'm against this. I think there's got to be a better way. I don't envy y'all your jobs. I really don't. But there's got to be another way to do this. I thank you.
Shannon Middleton.
I'm Shannon Middleton in the Emmett community. This body is responsible for the people for the decisions that you make on behalf of the county. Let me be clear, because it's my opinion from watching this body work that there's a fundamental misunderstanding about who it is that you represent. It appears that you believe that you represent the county government, the county manager, sheriff, public safety. The people in, excuse me, the people in your districts place their trust in you to represent them. Yes, you represent the people of Bulloch County. You are the governing body of the county government, not for the county government. Commissioners are trustees of the people that they serve. You've said that there have been many meetings with low or no turnout. You've seen large numbers attending these meetings. There's a reason for that. You've said that you are here to listen and that no decision has been made. I challenge you each to do that. I've contemplated what may happen if these unpopular increases are pushed through and the people aren't adequately represented. What if we all protest and refuse to pay your assessment? What will you do? Levy tax liens on all the citizens of Bulloch County's property? Put it up for auction as a result of default? I realize that's not likely, but man, what a statement that would make, likely garnering state and national attention and putting the spotlight on just how frustrated the people have all become with our government spend then tax approach. Initially, I thought of Jesus and how angry he was in Matthew 21, turning over the tables of the money changers. That's the anger that I personally feel today. But as a Christian, you've put me in a bad place. You have me wanting to revolt and rebel against your increases in a modern-day Boston Tea Party protest, but conflicted with my biblical calling to pay Caesar what is Caesar's. Even more challenging, I'm called to do that without complaining and to give with a joyful heart and spirit. As a former CFO, I had to make spending cuts while still maintaining operations, and the county can too. I challenge you to stop hiding behind the banner of public safety and start finding waste in the budget. I assure you it's hidden there in your summary budget. Transparency and accountability has been requested of this commission. Many believe that these public hearings are a formality required by statute. You have a duty to audit the financial affairs and transactions of all funds and activities of the county. That needed to be done when you attended your annual budget retreat many months ago and should have asked the county manager and departments then to go back and sharpen their pencils to preserve the people's capital. You didn't, and now we're furious. After the budget meetings, you approved the budget with an 8% employee salary increase, and unless you have the courage to act on what you have heard your constituents saying, I suspect you will approve these increases as well. We'll all be watching to see how you vote. With salary increases, you point to inflation and cost of living and state you couldn't give employees raises during COVID. Most of us here tonight are dealing with that same scenario. We didn't get wage increases. We didn't get PPE. We didn't get any of those things during COVID, while we are also experiencing inflation and cost of living increases. But most of us get 3%, if anything at all. Americans are spending $709 more per month since 2021, so please stop telling us how hard it is. As the procurement officer for my home, I don't have the luxury of taxing the people. I have to make better decisions and find waste or cut back on essentials. I'll end with this. January 11th, 1989, in his farewell address to the nation, President Ronald Reagan addressed the nation and said, "Ours was the first revolution in the history of mankind that truly reversed the course of government. And with three little words, we the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route and how fast." Almost all the world's constitutions are documents in which governments tell the people what their privileges are. Our Constitution is a document in which we, the people, tell the government what it is allowed to do. We, the people, are free. He also said, "I think we have stopped a lot of what needed stopping, and I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited. There's a clear cause and effect here that is as neat and predictable as law of physics. As government expands, liberty contracts. To this board, I say, stop what needs stopping. We, the people, are telling this government what to do. Do not vote for this proposed ad valorem tax and millage rate increase."
Howard Rushing.
Good afternoon, Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Howard Rushing. I live at 7145 Burkhalter Road. My family has been there since taxes have been paid in this county, always paid taxes. But it's getting to where we just can't pay it anymore. It's getting completely out of hand. And this proposed tax increase comes right behind the recent reassessment of property, which in itself is too much. And now this tax increase is too much on top of too much. And we're talking about continued growth and expansion in this county. I believe that we need to put a cap on rezoning Ag 5 property from farming land to commercial and residential. It's just too much growth. Farm right across from me that 100 years ago supported 2 families is now filled up as a subdivision. There must be 700 people or more living in that subdivision, whereas before it was 2 families. And that leads to another problem, the environmental impact of all this expansion. When I was a boy, you could stand in the Geechee River waist deep and see your toes on the bottom. But there's so much pollution now, and it's all from runoff from all of these subdivisions. Everybody's got to have a nice, pretty green yard. It all goes into the creeks, into the rivers, and it's pollution. Now, the wells have been mentioned again tonight, but I would like to say a little something about those wells. I don't think that Bulloch County should be supplying any water for that plant in Bryan County. Our aquifer is already heavily taxed. Just a few short years ago, I had to add about 40 more foot onto my deep well to get it back down into the water because the water levels continually dropping in the aquifer. Another thing is the environmental impact, and I know we don't have anything to do with the plant in Bryan County, excuse me, but it's only like a mile from the Geechee River. It is going to completely ruin that river, finish polluting that river to where it won't be of any use to anybody. But the environmental impact, and another thing is the accountability for the money that's already coming in. There's so much money that is floating around there that's already been mentioned before by other speakers like say the airport project, the time that the water park has not been profitable for 10 years, and so many things. That's just the things that we know about. I think that the money is there for the sheriff's department. It's there for the EMS and fire and all, but it's got to be found. It's got to be dug up, because you just can't keep going back and raising taxes on us. Like it's been said, I can't afford this tax increase. And I want to say, all of you on this board, Mr. Deal, Mr. Mosley, Mr. Simmons, Mr. Thompson, Mr. Stringer, Mr. Connor, Mr. Rushing, every one of you are Bulloch County residents. I know, if I don't know you personally, I know some members of your family. And I want to plead with y'all here tonight that you will not vote for this tax increase. Think about your neighbors, your friends, and the long-term hurt that this is going to cause in this county. It's just too much for people. So if you have the interest of your neighbors at heart, please vote against this tax increase. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know what you've been told. I know y'all know a lot of things that we don't know about. But please, it's got to stop somewhere. Stop this. Don't vote for this tax increase is my plea to you. And we'll pray that y'all will do the right thing tomorrow. And also, one other thing I want to say. I've heard it said, more so in the last meeting, people are saying that, well, if you vote for it, we're going to vote you off. Well, that's probably true. But the thing about it is that really don't matter, because once y'all vote for this tax increase, it's going to be there, and it's not ever going to be removed. So even if you are voted off and somebody else is voted in your place, we still got the taxes. So please don't do that to us. And that's all I've got to say.
Cassandra Michael.
My name is Cassandra Michael, and I'm back again with a copy of the budget that was put forth by the county. Have y'all read all 428 pages? I'm still not sure that this is the final version, but I know that we do not need this. It was released a week and a half ago, and has been difficult for me to even find the time to go through it, despite being here every freaking week. Can you honestly say that you know of everything in here and that you've already passed? Are you truly comfortable asking us to fund all of this? We sure aren't comfortable with it. Many of us at these hearings have made suggestions to look at this massive budget and remove some things. Are any of those suggestions being considered? Over the last 2 weeks, I've joined with numerous other people in this room to repeatedly tell you to make do with less. People from all across the county, young to old, all saying the exact same thing. Make do with less. Go back to the drawing board. Go back to the budget. Trim it down. Vote no to the millage rate increase. At the budget hearing in June, people like myself told you the same thing with the budget that you collectively voted unanimously for, something that we did not want. I asked at the same meeting if anything in the budget would change based on the feedback given that night. Unfortunately, the budget hearing wasn't recorded, so I can't get the exact quote, but Chairman Thompson made it seem like you would go back and look at it and see what could be cut. I believe he said that conversations would start the next day to see what could be done. He made it seem like the budget would be looked at. He made it seem like y'all would trim it up a little bit. What changed before that budget vote? Nothing, not a thing. You held one public hearing, heard from your constituents that told you repeatedly to trim the budget, and then y'all proceeded to vote unanimously without one single change to the budget. Was there literally not a single item in the budget to trim? Nothing? Seriously? People here have found all sorts of things. You voted against the wishes and desires of us, the taxpayers, the voters of Bulloch County. So once again, I ask, is anything in this budget going to change based on the feedback you are getting from these hearings? I know you're not going to answer me now, but I hope that you do answer at the end of this meeting. So here again, once again, as the constituents that voted you in, I'm speaking to each of you, Commissioner Rushing, Commissioner Connor, Mr. Stringer, Mr. Thompson, Mr. Simmons, Mr. Mosley, Mr. Deal. The people you represent have overwhelmingly told you no. Tom Couch does not represent us the same way that the superintendent of the schools, Charles Wilson, does not, as we didn't vote for either of them. You are the ones that will be making this decision, and it is clear that you work for us, he works for you, not the other way around. We've all spoke and told you that this millage rate increase is wrong, and we demand that our voices are heard. We're all here tonight, once again, saying no. We want our voices to be heard. So thank you for being here, unlike the terrible actions by the Board of Education of not having the audacity to show up for the Taxpayer Bill of Rights hearings. At the final Board of Education hearing, we literally saw, that no one's voice was being heard. So myself and Lawton Sack took a stand for voters and filed a petition against the inactions of the Board of Education, saying that elected officials not showing up was very wrong. While our side was misconstrued publicly, we were on the right side of the issue. Unfortunately, it seems that we had to be harmed first before we could prevent harm to all of the taxpayers. We will continue to work towards making sure every voice in this room is heard across the county, whether that be at meetings or in the voting booth. I hope this board takes the voices of all these people at these hearings seriously and votes no to the millage rate increase. Cut the budget. After everything you've heard tonight, I frankly don't know how any one of you can vote yes. Thank you.
That's the last one?
Yes.
All right, that supposedly is the last speaker, and I will now ask for a motion to close the floor to public comments.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
A motion with a second. All those, any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion, show of hands. Unanimous approval. This meeting is now closed to for public comments. I'm going to move to staff comments. We have any staff members that would like to make a comment? Hearing none, we'll move to the commissioner comments. Any commissioners? Any comments? There will be, I'm sure the commissioners will stay around for a while and answer questions that you would have. And that's the way that we have handled it for the other two meetings, and we'll handle it in that way. So the hearing no comments from staff, no comments from the commissioners, and I'm going to ask for this. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second. We have a motion. We have a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion, show of hands. Meeting is unanimously and now adjourned. And we'll be mingling around. Oh, no.